Hi, I'm Shauna Lee with Infinity Readings. I want to thank everybody who's joined, liked, or subscribed to my page, or my Facebook page. I have a Facebook page called Infinity Readings and Reviews if you want kind of more of a personal insight into where my mind is going, and also access to free monthly readings. And I will be giving away like micro readings. I'll be on for an hour and just accept questions as they come. First come, first serve type thing, and then we'll go from there and see what kind of demand that brings. But that's where you'll get access to that, and that's also where you'll get access if I decide to go outward with my readings. That's Infinity Readings and Reviews on Facebook. Click join, I'll add you in there, and then just wait around and see what happens. A lot of times it's just a more personal view of what I get instinctively throughout the months that I'm not sending the videos out. Sometimes I get intuitive downloads and I spit it out through the page, or I just feel inspired to put, you know, a lot of positive information in that way, and that's where all the kind of the news that I get intuitively is just spewed out there. So I want to thank anybody who's already in there and who is following me, and I want to thank them for their, you know, likes, subscribes, for the comments. I appreciate it. As long as it's productive in some way, I absolutely absorb that shit. I get in there, and it actually makes a difference in how I proceed forward. I do have fluxes here and there where family and life gets in the way, and usually everybody's been very accepting and graceful of that time. So I appreciate that for all the people that are on there. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit about the decks that I'm using. I have I'm doing a 2-pyramid male-female split for my readings. I don't know, came up with that on the fly. I'm using, I found Masculine and Feminine set, which I'm very stoked about. The Gods and Titans deck from Stacey DeMarco, and the Goddesses and Sirens deck, also from Stacey DeMarco. Those are the two, the male and the female, that I use. I clarify the female deck with the Whispers of Love. And I'm turning more into the love side of things. I was clarifying with some grounded energy, but my decks kind of somehow disappeared, so I had to change it up. So the Whispers of Love is really giving the insight to the female side, and then I'm using the Love and Sex Tarot deck to give a little harder edge to the God and Titans, the male side, kind of looking into their sexual. I don't know that they would pick up on the softer side of it anyway. I think it would be a little too fluffy. So I think the sexual edge that this tarot deck gives is working very well. I think the energies are working very well. So that is the decks that I'm using at this point. Whatever you're dealing with from June 20th to September 22nd, that is the run time here that I'm forecasting for. There's a few themes that are running through. One of them is a sense of play. Keep that for the summer. Don't get too serious. But those that are driven to need to, I guess. We need to keep love and compassion alive, and not only that, go outward with it. So happy summer to everyone, and on with the readings. This is for the Aries, so I'm going to start out with the females. The first card you get is Release. It's a very intense card. There seems to be a fiery energy here that you are struggling to release, to let go. There's something in your life that you are maybe fighting to hang on to when it should be let go. So that is really what you're on the throes of here in the beginning of the summer. Your next card is Protection. Just went through this with the past sign. Beware of the protection symbol. If you are needed to be protected, you've got to be aware of what from. Why is there a need for protection? So as with the male Pisces, there's something going on here, but we'll carry on. The next card you get is Justice. So let's hope that these Aries women are on the right moral, ethical path here, because I see protection and justice, and if we are not on that path, man, you are going to get swept off. And I do remember the last reading, they're saying, guess what? This is carrying forward. So there's some of these areas that have listened and some of these areas that have not. And if you're being tapped on the shoulder, guess what? It's good. You're going to turn around, you're going to get knocked out. If you are not on the right moral and ethical compass here, and I'm feeling this very strongly, these Aries women can get tripped up, troubled up, and into complete chaos. So you got to watch for that. It's on the heels of your summer starting. So it's already in the air. You're in a hardwired release energy that you need to release something that you're refusing to let go. So be aware that is the key to really everything smoothing out, is letting go of that thing you don't want to let go of. The next card we get is self-esteem. So these are always, though Aries, like I say, outwardly, they don't exhibit that. They have this air of, I got what it takes, and, you know, look at me, and I'm great and wonderful, and that is true. But they have their issues on the inside, and if they are not awake and aware and taking note of that, they're really not going to get forward here. So what comes next is compassion. So that is, that's a nice green glow she's given off. And everything else is kind of that fiery red-orange. And we got more orange here than red. But we got to be careful that we don't tip that. I mean, Aries have that fiery power, that passion energy that they just can bite off in the wrong direction at the wrong time and completely cut themselves off the kneecaps. So the compassion is there to counterbalance, so that's good. And they're working on the self-esteem issues. We end up at pleasure. This can be a good thing. If we're on the compassionate side, we're dealing with justice, we're having compassion, and we have pleasure come from that. Groovy. But there's a varied split here. It's like a 50-50 split. Then we've got pleasure, self-esteem, and release. So there's something that is coming at you that you need to release. It has to do with self-esteem issues, why you're not letting it go. Why you're not letting it go, why you're not letting it free is self-esteem. This is, I can't let it go because then it'll hurt me. But in reality, I think if you carry on, it'll hurt you worse. And you're just not seeing from those sides of the projector here. You're on the wrong side of things, looking out. You're on the outside looking in. You need to be on the inside looking in. And self-esteem seems to be kind of somewhat the root. And the compassion can pull you out of that. If you get into your compassion about the situation that you would need to let go of, and I'm feeling, man, you are just clinging, your arms, your feet, you got it wrapped around whatever it is, whether it's a job, a partner, or something that you need to let go. The universal process is in a phase, man. It's got to go. You've got to go to get new energy in. The more you fight, the more fight you'll have to put forth. And the more deteriorated process you're going to have to start from if you continue with that. And I feel like these Aries are going through quite an outward struggle. It is something outside of them that they are trying to hang on to that is just not meant for them. It's just not meant. It's meant to go. It's meant to leave. It's meant to get out of your energy. And you are just refusing to do so. You're going to hang on for bare life. And you're feeling it has something to do with your self-esteem. You feel, excuse me, if you let go of this, your self-esteem is going to plummet. So be it. Go into your compassion. Realize you take the hit and go forward. Because this is really, I remember in the last reading saying, if you don't, at this point you have a crossroads where you can make a decision that is justified or unjustified. And like anger and coming from, almost like it was a split of coming from love or anger. And I feel like some of you, well, the majority here is coming from the wrong side. They're coming from anger, not from love. And they need to go into their love sector and start backing things up here. You know, backing your trails up, because you've already starting to make missteps here. They're saying, oh yeah, they're already on that road where they've made that mistake. But if they continue down, it's just going to get harder and harder. It is getting harder and harder. And they're disillusioned as to why. Their self-esteem, they're going, no, 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 I can't, I can't. And to Aries, that's a huge thing. The feminines really hanging on to this with such energy is a huge thing. It's like their identity themselves. But what they don't realize is it was a false sense of their identity that this was hanging on to. So they need to come up from the ashes, because there's fiery energy here. That release will give you all those embers to start that blaze again in a new way, and that's what you need to do. You need to grab your self-esteem, set it in front of you, and start working. Working from your pleasure zone, you know, because that's really another route, is that I think the pleasure has been mismounted in areas. You've been putting it in areas where it just don't need to be. Thinking it's for your pleasure, but it's actually for someone else's pleasure. Or worse yet, dealing with your ego pleasure. Pleasing your ego, which in turn, it will hit your self-esteem, knock it right out. And then we got problems here with releasing. That's why, because we got an ego fight, an ego struggle. So you got to go in your self-esteem and figure things out, straighten it out, come from compassion, and then deal with the pleasure from an altruistic sense of who you are. A real tight sense of who you are. Love and compassion, not anger and hatred and fear and all of that. So there's a heavy, fiery system that's coming through these Aries charts. And it's just got storm and lightning bolts and chaos and whatever. But it is up to you to be self-projecting in that way. You've got to look inside. If you keep looking outside for answers, that struggle is going to take you down. It is starting the beginning process of taking you down. So if you do not realize, stop and realize. As you stop along the way, you know, you release that next step. So stop, think, and just, you know, pause if you have to. Just pause. Just pause and think. Where am I? Where do I really want to be? What am I fighting for? What am I really fighting to hang on to? Is it worth it? What am I getting if I hang on to it? Is that worth it? Because there's something here, these areas they just don't want to let go of, and that's really having to do with the self-esteem, but also maybe in a pleasure zone at that. But we have to go into a compassion to bring out the answers and clear all that gunk away. Clear all that gunk away and be aware. When there's a protection symbol, I'm always warning, warning. You know, because that means you're going to have to be protected from something that you're doing outward. Because somebody's going to be coming lashing out. Whether it's karma itself, the universe itself, you may need protection from. So be aware that option's there. So Aries are just feisty little fighters. And they don't want to give up. But sometimes they're really not seeing clearly what it is that they're fighting for. Why. It's the wrong fight that they're fighting. So they need to keep that in mind. This may not be the right fight that I'm fighting here. It's, you know, take note, stop, hold on, wait a minute, you know, and let go. But that release, there's something there. And I feel like if you're guided to the video and you're seeing it and it's coming across, you're going to know exactly what it is that you need to let go of. If it's a relationship, just let it go. You know why it's going? Because there's something better coming in. There's something better suited for you and for that other person. And it needs to separate in order to do so. If it's work, the same thing. There's something better, more pleasurable, more, you're going to get more out of it. Maybe even more paid. They need somebody different. Like it's a universal match. We need to get rid of it. Don't force something that the universal energy is trying to help you with, because they're really trying to get you in a better position than you're in. And that's the fight here. Is we're fighting the wrong fight. You're fighting against the universe trying to get you in a better place, and you're going, no, I want to stay here. And they're going, here's not good. This is not good for you, and it's just going to get worse. But you're not believing it, so you got to wake up a little bit here. Wake up. Okay, that's enough of that. I'm going to go right into the love stuff here. Clarify with love. Okay, let's bring this vibration up a bit. It says, I love you. These are very important words, and to use them sparingly. And think about the depth and the width of the capacity to have to say that. Not even have to say that, to want to say that. To be driven to say that. What does it mean to say I love you? So, when we're talking about the singles, I think it means don't play around no more with the petty stuff. Like guy that says I love you on the first date. Don't play around with that. Go forward, find out what that means, and really think, and like I was going to say meditate, but mutter with that a little bit. I love you. I think that's really the universal hint too as well, saying, you know what, we do love you, but you're struggling out of a wrong sense of doing things right. Like you're sensing that you're doing things right, but it's actually wrong. So it's kind of almost like a universal going, the universe is going, we love you guys, Aries, we love you. You know, you're so feisty, you're so, you're so well, you know, ready to fight, but you got to fight the right fight. So they're going, they love it, but it's just in the wrong direction. The next card, treasure your loved ones. It's important to love others deeply. So thinking again about those people around you that are worthy of love, you know, if it is, you know, a situation where I have someone here in a relationship where they're having to let go of someone or something that they love, there are others that love you around you. You know, there are others than this one particular, and at the time when you're going through change like that, it does not seem justified. If it feels like your whole world is loveless because you got to let go of this one person, but there are people around you who are in love with you, and treasure that love that you get from the others. So that's the next card. Now the last card in the love and romance is take a chance on love. When we start to love our lives, when we comma here. When we start to love, our lives are changed forever. So it's interesting. I'm getting like you have to release and then bring in. So it really is a feeling that I think that you've really dragged on so long. Like if there's, I'm getting a sense here for some couples that are releasing an ex or hanging on to an ex or in the process of getting rid of an ex or a process of being dumped by an ex. There really is, and I'm feeling that's more the case. It's like there's an energy here that it's inflicted upon the Aries, and they don't want, it's not their decision, so they don't want it. And they're basically saying, go with the flow on that, let that energy pass through, and also be open for the new stuff that's coming in, because I feel like you've been hanging on so long that that next position is just ready to connect, but it can't until you let that other one go. And that's what's going on. So there's new love that wants to come in here, but for couples I'm feeling, or even dating, lightly dating, you know, you may be hung up on someone that it's kind of got a hold on you in an ego sense, hey? And you're putting a lot of esteem in that, and you need to take account because it may be something that just needs to pass through so you can, that loop can connect, and there's something waiting, just waiting to come in. So you have to take a chance on love, but I think you may be looking in the wrong direction for that. So be aware that there's new energy that wants to come in your love sector, but there's something blocking it. So that is that. That's a little more mellow. Let's chaos. Now we'll go to the men. Oi. Okay. You start with dedication. Aries males, they can be very dedicated. And next we move on to perfection. So feeling very strongly like the virility, I'm saying, moving on from love and romance, but feeling very potent in who they are and their masculinity, and not only in the masculine states when dealing with partners, but in work and life, and be very potent, very virile, and very ready to attack things. Then we have altruism sitting silently on the sidelines. Just waiting there, just waiting. So they do have a better sense of themselves. I see last time there was a, it's like they're trying to get that altruistic sense of self, but it's just kind of off center a little bit. It's not quite in their main view. So yeah, feeling perfect, dedicated to that perfection. Then we have chaos, and that is so Aries. Now I'm feeling like they're They're really in that shit disturbing mode. I feel like these Aries males are like, okay, let's see. I'm going to get things moving, and not in a good way. They're not really coming from a sense of, that's not right. It's not justified. You know, they're not coming from justification here. They're coming here from complete stir the pot mess things up zone. That's what they're coming from. So they're just wanting to see what kind of excitement they can stir up in a mischievous kind of way. That's really where these males are sitting. I don't know what's come into them, but I mean, this is their sense of play. Then we go over here. It's their play. Shh, don't tell no one, but I'm gonna get things started. I'm gonna excite things around here, and that's what's going on. This is what they're doing. It's kind of like for their own amusement. That's what, and Aries males will do that. They will say, well, it's just a little too mundane in here. I need some excitement. So they'll go push some guy, and another guy spills the beer, and a fight starts out. And away he goes, just sitting there watching it. You know, and the guy that started it truly is just left there, and then everything, well, that was more entertaining. And he'll grab his beer, grab his buddy's beer, and walk out the door. And that is an Aries male. Stuck in an Aries zone. Stuck in the in the negative side of it. But that's how they can roll, right? Roll with me. And this seems to be kind of the energy they're stirring up. It's like, I don't know, let's throw that one in the mix, see what happens. And then and it's like, yeah, there's some chaos here. And what we end up having as their ending is shape-shifting. So I feel like they may be coming to a point in their life where they're starting to understand that it's not really, I mean, yeah, okay, it's amusement. their lower sense of fun and play is really being, tickled, but they're realizing there's more life than that. Or they're starting to maybe not realize that, but starting to feel that there should be more to life than that. Like they're it's not quite floating their boat like it used to. So that's that altruism that's sitting in the corner here, just waiting to come through. It's like it's just underneath the chaos, waiting to shift. It is there. It gets the better of them all the time. And just throw a knife in there and see what happens. But they have a dedication to play, and that's also making it harder for them. They like that sense of play and titillation when they can stir things up and see reactions. They really get caught up in that, and it's hard to balance that out. They can't handle the mundane as well as some, like say Capricorn can handle a low key, on the vibe, But these Aries, they just got to stir up stuff. They just got to keep it fresh, keep it going. And sometimes that fresh is just not a good thing in that way, especially when it comes to, stirring up chaos. So there is a side of these males that wants to come through here in the altruistic way, and it's I don't know, I don't see it coming through the summer, maybe not even in the fall. Might have it a little bit up in here, the fall, where we're a little more of a realization, a little more of a narrowing down. But for now, it's sitting in the corner, off in the corner, and we got perfectionism and egos and dedication to making him, giving himself a chuckle out of it. And I think a lot of it he thinks is good-hearted play and lighthearted stuff, but it may not be taken that way. So this is where he has to come to that conclusion. He's kind of hurting people along the way, and it's a little more deeply than he would have been, or he thought he would have been hurt by it. So not a lot of this is coming back on these Aries males. They're not getting a lot of retribution and that, like, come back on them. So they don't feel that truly come back. So that may be part of the problem here, is why he's not kind of straightening himself out a little bit. So over the summer, they're going to be creating some chaos just for their own amusement, and that's where they're sitting. Just in it. And that's, you need that so that the rest of us boring people don't know what, it kind of does give something, but at the same time, they're going to learn down the road how it affects them and they're just not seeing that at this point. So if we go into the love and sex factor here for these Aries males, the first card that came popping out was the Lovers. And the Lovers here, we got two lovers, you know, two girls and a man. So it's basically he's sitting there kind of high on his horse and going, yeah, I got choices. I got things. I got directions I can go. I'm not hard up. So he's not feeling too lonely. He's not feeling too bad. He's like, I can make some he just, I don't know if he's in it yet. So the next card, so we got the Lovers. We got it. It's on the radar. And he's got options. Oh, okay. So here it is. The Seven of Pentacles is the next card. So when you look at the Seven of Pentacles, there's a red link tie here. And the woman's it looks like she's wearing it on her wrist. But yet it's not attached to anybody. It's not attached to that man. So it's like there's a link being broken. So maybe these Aries have come to a situation in their love lives where they've broken a tie. They've had to break up with someone. And because of this card, the Seven of Pentacles, it's a tie that's been broken that is almost, it's time. It's time to release. Just like the women. It's time to let go. It's time to let go. But the women are clinging. They're being desperate, you know, and these men are like, yeah, it's going and it's gone. You know, like it's there, but it's got no hold on me anymore. So that's what the Seven of Pentacles is saying here. So he's got options. So he may have a situation where he just let go. So, and then the next card I get is the Three of Wands, which is interesting as well, because that's another karmic tie. I mean, they both got ties, but they're nice ties, right? They're all together and they're connected, and I mean, well, this is going forward. So, you know, it's kind of like the opposite. It's like a karmic tie that's ended, karmic tie that's beginning. So you may have had a situation where these men, they were in a long-term relationship, and I do feel if it wasn't long-term, it was definitely long lessoned, or a deep lesson that they had to learn through the relationship, and it was time to go. You can't go anywhere. It's just time to move on. So they did so, and now they're into another relationship. Interesting. This is what's going on with the Aries, with the women. We're trying to get them into the mode to let go of that one. The men are letting them go, and boom, they got another one in there. And it's good and absorbing and in a better way of connecting physically. They're into that. They're into each other, whatever. And the one, and I get a sense here though that the one that's been let go, it's not, neither one of them are really having any huge depressive feelings over it. It's saddening, it's whatever, but it's come to time to let it go. Like they've kind of had enough of each other, so it's time to let go. And it's like, yeah, this has gone on too long. So it's almost like in that sense of the word, and maybe that's why he's got the Lovers, you know, with the kind of like, I got choices. I got one I just left and one I'm coming to. And you know what? I'm going in this direction right now, and you know, that's the way it goes type thing. So I feel like, yeah, there's definitely some lessons that have gone through in the love sector. Life and work and play is a different matter. I think they're a little more hard-headed in that area. But in the love sector, they seem to be really picking up on what they need to. I feel like they're letting go of what needs to let go, bringing in what needs to bring in, and going with that. It's all normal, it's all stable. But again, karmic ties here for sure in both what they let go of. But it doesn't mean that it had to stay. It means that you got your lesson, both of you. Now move on. The next one has to go to a different place. And then the Three of Wands just symbolizes, yeah, we got some lessons we gotta learn from this one too. So the one coming in is the same. You're gonna learn. So all good. That's good. That kind of balances out this chaotic energy in life, is the romance. It's like, yeah, we got some decent stuff. And I think they're more grounded in, believe it or not, these Aries men are more grounded in their love lives than maybe they are in other areas. Feeling more connected to it. Maybe at this time, I don't know, could switch. You know, in the fall, could switch. They could be grabbing onto their their lives, their inner turmoil and stuff like that, and switching that around. But for now, their love lives seem to be ruling. They seem to be doing okay with it. So very interesting energy. The females are really it's kind of like the males are doing what the females are refusing to do. They're refusing to see it. So the Aries, they're really on a path of letting go of old energy and bringing in new. Because it's like no pause. We got no pause here for these. If they let go at the right time, I feel like the females are past that point. The right time has passed. Now, it will always be the right time because it will happen in the right time that it's meant to. But to hang on too tightly for too long, you know, it's not gonna hinder. It's just really gonna cause problems within your own esteem, with your own self-worth, and then that's gonna cause ripples down the road in the relationship, and you don't see that. But so the females need to let go of a relationship so they can get new, fresh energy, and the males have let go of their relationship and are working towards the new, fresh energy. So interesting. This is a very tight race here between the male and the females. Females a little more stubborn. The males are go with the flow in the sex and love department. The women, sex and love, stubborn. So we'll see what happens over the summer, because there's a lot of time here. We got from June to September, so hopefully everything works out in the end. And these Aries women, they got to learn. They got to be in their compassion more than in their fight. And what are you fighting for? Figure that out, because you really, some of them are looking, they don't know what they're fighting for. They're just fighting to be right. But what is right? And what does it mean for me? What do I get out of this? You know, you may be right, but you may be alone in the end. So you got to understand, you know, what you're fighting for. So that is the reading for Aries for the summer of 2017. Take care, have fun, and be kind, and stay in your compassion, Aries, and you won't go wrong. Take care.